Howdy everyone, and welcome to TC16. We're here at the VentureBeat live stage on the third floor of the JW Marriott here in Austin, Texas. We've got a conference that has 13,000 customers and partners from around the globe. This year's got more sessions, hands-on training, and keynotes than they ever had before. Customers like Blue Shield California, Chick-fil-A, Coca-Cola, Expedia, GoPro, so on and so forth. We'll be conducting interviews from 10:30 Central Time right now until 4:40 end of day, with about 1-minute breaks in between 20-minute sessions. And big news for Tableau. The Tableau 10 was just released this last quarter with an update to Tableau 10.1. We'll be talking to a lot of folks about that later on. But I want to definitely give attention here to Neil Myrick, the Director of Social Impact at Tableau. Welcome, Neil.
Thank you.
Good to have you. We were here last year.
We were,
when 9.1 came out.
Yeah,
and now
that's
it's
right.
10.1, so it's almost one version per year,
Exactly.
one major version per year.
Yeah.
Very cool. That's kind of on pace with Tableau.
It is, and a few thousand more customers here this year.
Fantastic. Last year was 8,000, I want to say 8,500, something like that.
I want to say that, yeah. I'm not know for sure, but
it's big growth. What is that, 40% growth in 1 year?
It's good.
That's huge,
Yeah.
totally. So can you tell us a little bit about what is Tableau Foundation? What does it do? Who do you help?
Yeah, happy to. Happy to. Our foundation is an employee-led foundation, which means we get employees involved in all of our grant making. And we're pursuing a mission to encourage the use of facts and analytical reasoning to solve the world's problems. And that fits really well with our corporate mission, which is to help people see and understand their data. And what we're really looking for around the world are to build partnerships with nonprofits and non-governmental organizations, NGOs, who are using data in a really transformative and innovative way to make real progress on whatever objectives that they're achieving.
Very cool. So it's about data, not opinions, getting hard, cold facts. Can you give us some like success stories, some folks that you've worked with where you've brought data to the picture and showed them insights?
Happy to.
Cool.
Yeah, so the grant making we do in our mission grant level are pretty deep partnerships with nonprofits around the world.
Okay.
When we partner with them, we talk with them and we really figure out, like, is there alignment between the goals they're trying to achieve and between our goals? And then how is data being used to really advance or transform how they go about achieving their mission and those objectives? So a good example is Feeding America, which is the nation's largest nonprofit dedicated to hunger in the US. They have 200 food banks spread around the US. They feed 49 million people a year.
Gosh.
And they distribute 3 billion meals a year in the US, which is really phenomenal.
That's some huge scale, a lot of data points.
Huge scale. And one of the challenges they have, though, is even though they're feeding 3 billion meals a year, they actually need to be feeding 8 billion meals a year. And so they have to figure out, how do we scale from 3 to 8? And if you think about it, that's really a giant supply chain and logistics challenge, right?
Yep.
So we partnered with them. They're currently in the middle of deploying Tableau to all 200 food banks.
Very cool.
And they're deploying 1,400 Tableau online seats, which is phenomenal. And a couple ways they're using it. One is they aggregate data from a couple of third parties and data from their food banks. And so they can go into any county in the US, click on a specific grocery store, and they can actually see how many pounds of food that grocery store is donating, and how many pounds of food, based on the other data, that grocery store should be able to donate.
Wow.
And that's really the gap. And what that does is that empowers the local food bank managers to go to that grocery store and have a conversation. You're donating 5,000 pounds of food a month. It looks like you might be able to donate 10,000 pounds. How do we get you there?
Wow.
The other way they're using it is they used to have these challenge where they have giant semi-trucks that go collect the food. And they have a challenge where sometimes the trucks would go out and their route wouldn't be optimized, and so they'd come back either empty or not as full as they could be. So they're actually using Tableau to optimize the routes of their trucks, so they go out and they come back full, which then is really optimizing their logistics. And then they're also using it comparing data for all of their food banks. So the food banks have all agreed to certain measurements and metrics. They all report them in, and then they all get dashboards where they can compare their performance against another food bank. And if I'm doing well in donor and fundraising, and you're not, you can see that, and then we can talk and we can share ideas about what's working for me that might work for you.
Cool.
It's very
Absolutely.
cool. Yeah.
And I apologize because I was at the keynote yesterday. Lots of interesting, great new features coming up. I forget if the collaboration tools are. I think they're still in beta, right? Are they?
I don't know
release?
for
Yeah, I know you're not product dev, but do you know if there was anything like that? Because I could see a lot of folks using. I know that inside of the app now, you can. In the demo yesterday, I think it was Andrew Beers showed the collaboration capabilities, where it would send an email with the viz and everything embedded, and then the person could respond to that, and it was all just seamless and works with everything. I could totally see that being a good tool for them as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, I had a conversation with the CIO of Feeding America, and after seeing the features in yesterday's demos, she came up to me and she thinks, you know what, there's a bunch of stuff that I had planned to do that I think I can leapfrog.
Oh, that's great.
Using these new features, which if you think from a nonprofit's perspective, that's going to save them a lot of time and money if they can do
integrations,
that. So
that whole
I'm super excited about it. I can't wait to actually have a deeper conversation and figure out exactly what those things are.
That is fantastic. And to be clear, the 1,400 licenses you gave out and all of this, that was completely just out of the goodness of your hearts. There was no money coming back. You guys just do this to be nice and give back to the community.
Yeah, it's really about, we really want to focus on the solving the world's problems part of our mission.
Sure.
And we're really looking at how do we really move the dial on something. So traditional corporate philanthropy has been about, in many cases, has been about writing checks, kind of spreading money around war is kind of a brand building activity.
Sure. Here's this. Now you guys run off and go.
Here's your 100K. Go do whatever you want to do.
We did our part. Have fun. Right.
What's interesting is the millennial population right now is really interested in knowing that their company is having true social impact. And they actually want to see that they want to be engaged and involved, and they want to know that their company is actually moving the dial on something, which is really important.
Absolutely.
So a couple of our programs are really focused on that engagement because it's very important to the workers and making sure that they're satisfied with their work and get opportunities to kind of grow professionally.
Totally. And you guys have been doing this for a while now. The foundation has been around for how many years?
2 years. It got funded in 2012, the company donated some pre-IPO stock.
Cool.
The founders matched it. And then in 2013, we went public and the fund was funded when the stock was sold. And then we started really grant making in 2014 and have been making grants ever since. We have about a dozen grants that we're going to be finalizing by the end of this year. And by the time that's done, I'm estimating we're going to be supporting nonprofits doing social impact work in about 35 countries.
That is amazing. Yeah. Wow. And you guys are doing, I understand, quite a bit of work with some UN efforts as well. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, it's really exciting. So in September of 2015, the United Nations ratified the Sustainable Development Goals, and there's 17 of them, and they all have metrics kind of underneath. And the goal is really to get the world to rally around these 17 goals and pursue them together. And so what we did in November of 2015 is we sent a survey out to all of our employees worldwide, and we asked them, which of the Sustainable Development Goals would you like us to prioritize in 2016? And they chose hunger, education, gender equality, water and sanitation, and climate action. Cool. So we have employees leading grant teams who are then going to make grants in those areas.
That is fantastic. Yeah.
It's really great. And then Feeding America is one of our biggest hunger investments. Sure. And then we're just now ramping up a really great relationship with the World Food Program, who delivers food to 80 million people around the world, and in some of the most challenging places like Yemen and Syria and the Boko Haram territories of Nigeria.
Sure.
So they're using data in a really effective way to measure food security and market conditions, sometimes in places where they can't send staff. And then what that allows them to do is make better decisions on the types of food interventions they need to make in those areas to allow people to eat.
I see.
Yeah.
Really interesting. Like, that's probably mainly like I would guess Tableau desktop and so forth. Do they have connectivity and crosstalk there as well, or?
It's a mix. So
Okay.
they, what's interesting in the World Food Program case is they're using, mobile devices are pretty ubiquitous now,
Yep.
even in some of those areas,
Yep.
those areas. So they developed a survey mechanism where they can take surveys of people on the ground, and that's how they get the data in near real time
Wow.
without having to send staff in. It used to take them about 60 days to go do a survey, collect the data, get it back, put it in reports, and now it's in real time.
Wow.
That data actually is put into, they obviously use Tableau Desktop to build the dashboards. They're building up a Tableau server to distribute the dashboards.
Cool.
And then in some cases where connectivity is low, they can then use Tableau Reader or Adobe Acrobat to send out printed reports.
Sure. That anybody can read on
Yeah.
any desktop
Yeah.
platform. Yeah. I think that's Mac and PC as well, right?
It is, yeah,
The
Mac and
reader
PC, yeah.
Everything. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So they've got a lot of ways to measure success, right?
Yeah.
With what they do. How do you guys measure success of your efforts when
That is a
you've
great
done
question.
something and come in? And
That is a great question. So in nonprofit speak, we're capacity builders.
okay.
A lot of funding that comes in is restricted, meaning a funder will, let's take the case of malaria, right? So a funder could come in and say, I'm going to give you $100,000, and I only want you to spend it to buy and distribute bed nets.
Okay.
Regardless of whether bed nets is the right intervention, the nonprofit is actually required to use the money to buy bed nets.
Sure. We'll do this thing just because you wanted it
Yeah.
to be done, even though it's not going to do anything for anybody.
Exactly. So our grant making is different. When we give grants, it's software, training, services, volunteers.
Sure.
We engage Tableau partners and customers as well. And then if we do a financial grant, it's unrestricted. And what we do then is by investing all of those assets, we're actually helping the nonprofit build its capacity to use data to advance its mission. And so when you're working at a capacity builder level,
Yeah.
it's hard for us to say that by building capacity at PATH on our malaria project, that we don't feel like it's authentic for us to take credit for what's happening on the ground in Zambia, because it's not a direct link.
Gotcha.
So our X dollar investment in
Support
PATH
facilitators.
gives them the capacity to use data. That's really helping them be effective, but we can't really take credit for the end outcome. It's a long way to say that we don't know how to measure our impact other than qualitatively by hearing from our customers, from our nonprofit partners. They tell us how data is helping them be more effective. And
Gotcha.
it's those qualitative stories that help us make sure that we feel like we're on track
Sure.
in achieving our objectives.
It's not always just data points. You need
Exactly.
some
And
background.
it's a little
context.
ironic to be heading a foundation in a data company and not have a lot of data points to be able
Right.
to, a beautiful visualization that says, here's what's.
Sure. When humans are involved, it's unstructured data.
It's
It's all the wacky
Yeah.
text stuff
Exactly.
that you get. Cool.
But a great story is in Zambia. So we partnered with PATH to help the Ministry of Health in Zambia achieve their objective, which is to be malaria-free by 2020.
Yep.
It's a big goal. That's a really hard thing to accomplish. PATH is using Tableau in the southern province of Zambia
Okay.
to collect data and measure the impact of a bunch of other interventions that they're doing. And what's really exciting is within just the last 2 rainy seasons, so rainy seasons are when the mosquitoes come out and people get sick.
Peak.
During the last 2 rainy seasons in the southern province, there's been a 93% reduction in malaria cases,
Oh my gosh, that's huge.
which is phenomenal. And I haven't verified this, so it may not be 100% true, but I heard that there may have only been 1 malaria-related death in the southern province last quarter.
Wow.
Which is phenomenal. It makes me so happy. Especially because most of the malaria deaths that happen are children under the age of 5.
Gotcha.
And
The vulnerable.
so when you look at that viz and you see that drop, it's from 35,000-ish people down to 4,000 or 5,000-ish people.
Oh my gosh.
So the story behind that data is that's like 30,000 people, mostly kids under 5,
Who are now living.
who are alive and didn't have to suffer through malaria in the last two rainy seasons.
That
So
is
it's a phenomenal
fantastic.
thing.
You've got the coolest job.
I do. I
I'm
love
so
it. I
jealous.
absolutely love it. Yeah.
And that is the button as well. I want to make reference to that
Yes.
because it's funny you mentioned that because Jeff Benson from Path you're our first
Yes.
interview and he's our very last at 4:40
Yeah,
end of day.
yeah.
So we're bringing it all the way back around full circle. But
Yeah.
other folks, I think I might have seen those on other. It's hard to tell because everybody's got so many buttons.
Yeah.
But can you talk about that's just the button of the project and other folks?
Yeah, Path handed these out at a Celebration of Philanthropy event a couple weeks ago.
Okay, cool.
And it's really they've been working in malaria now for decades, so they're expert at it.
Gotcha.
One thing that's unique about really their partnership with us is, again, in nonprofit speak, we have a really great partnership that's called a shared value partnership.
Okay.
And what that means is that we come in as equals. So a lot of times when funders come in, it's a hierarchical relationship. And the funders sometimes, tell the nonprofit what to do and how to do it.
Gotcha.
We don't know anything about malaria elimination. They do.
Yeah.
But we know a lot about data and visual analytics. And so our partnership is we come in, we sit at the table with them as peers, not as funders. And we troubleshoot. And it's like, what's working, what's not working, how can we help, what other resources do you need? And we happened to have this meeting last year before conference. And one of the program officers said that they had a conversation with the Gates Foundation, who's been an amazing funder of malaria work around the world.
We'll be interviewing them later as well.
Oh,
Yep.
good.
Yep.
The program officer at Gates happened to mention that they were hoping to see more private sector support for malaria elimination.
Okay.
So I just said, why don't we do a campaign and launch it at Tableau conference and try to get Tableau partners and customers engaged in the campaign. So we launched a campaign called Visualize No Malaria. It's at visualizenomalaria.org.
And that's the hashtag, I think, as well, right?
Exactly.
If I'm not mistaken, yeah.
And it's a 5-year campaign. So we committed $500,000 over 5 years of unrestricted funding. The multi-year commitment's important because you can't cure malaria in a year.
Sure.
And what a multi-year commitment does is it allows Path to have a little bit of sure-footedness as they sort of adapt and learn. And
They don't
try
have to go back out and pitch for
They don't have to
funding and-
keep
sure,
pitching, right?
Sure.
So that's really important. The unrestricted is really important because if they're learning from the data, they should be changing their methodologies based on what they're learning from the data.
Yeah.
And if it was restricted, they may not be able to. So unrestricted gives them the ability to be innovative.
Gotcha.
And then we've been able to bring other partners in. So Alteryx, which is a Tableau technology partner, they committed their technology to the project. Twilio committed to the full campaign.
Very cool. I've got a couple friends over there, yeah.
Oh, you do? Yeah. Eric over there is great. Twilio committed. Slalom Consulting and DataBlick have been providing pro bono consulting now for about 1.5 years.
Those are big players. Those are powerful tools you're putting
Powerful
in these folks'
tools,
hands.
yeah. And
That's
the Tableau ecosystem's amazing. All I have to do is call people up and say, are you willing to help? And they're like, absolutely, we're in.
I want to interview you for like another hour. I feel like I could just keep throwing you questions and keep. This feels really good. All the stuff you guys are doing.
Yeah.
And one more thing, we only got a minute or so left here, a couple minutes. The Tableau Foundation annual report, something I want to talk about. It's public on your site.
Yep.
It is a report that is live updated. It's not a dead document.
Yes.
And anybody can go there and browse through it
Absolutely.
and see exactly the numbers. Like a couple numbers here. 1,400 employees engaged, 8,000 hours volunteered. 2,300 nonprofits helped, and 13 million in total giving.
Correct.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm so jealous.
A couple of years, yeah, it's been great.
This is really, really cool. So like myself, I'm sure a lot of folks on the video would also like to if they've got NGOs or nonprofits that they want to get involved with this, can you let them know how to get in touch with you guys and get the ball rolling?
Yeah, there's 2 ways. We have Tableau for Nonprofits. If you go to our website, tablaufoundation.org, Tableau for Nonprofits is a way for nonprofits around the world to get Tableau desktop licenses. It's a nominal fee. It's like $58, and that's what the vendor charges for the transaction.
Gotcha.
That's available in 192 countries now.
Wow.
Tableau Service Corps is a volunteer corps. It's about 75% employees, about 25% customers and partners.
Very cool.
Who are Tableau enthusiasts who volunteer to help nonprofits use Tableau.
Wow.
We have a waiting list of 212 volunteers who actually want to join the Corps, which is great, and they're all like customers and partners.
You've got more volunteers than companies.
We have work that we could do right now.
Wow.
So we need more nonprofits to use Tableau.
Give them a call, guys.
Absolutely.
Neil Myrick is who you need to contact at Tableau. Neil,
Great.
thank you so much for
Thanks so
spending,
much.
spending the time with us. And
This was fun.
I had a great time.
All
It was
right.
good talking to you. Good seeing you
Good.
again. I hope to see you next year as well.
You as well, yeah, thanks.
Take care.
All right.
Thanks, everyone. We'll be back in about a minute.
Thank you.